Recently, footage from the Kursk region taken last week surfaced on the internet. In it, a Russian military correspondent claims that the Russian Armed Forces destroyed a Western-made radar station which is in service with the Ukrainian Armed Forces. However, OSINT analysts have established that this is a North Korean-made air defense system which was created on the basis of the Russian Tor system. The footage showed smoke rising from the targeted equipment, though the extent of the damage was not immediately clear. Analysis of the footage revealed that the destroyed equipment closely resembles a North Korean analogue of the Russian Tor short-range SAM system, known in NATO designation as the SA-15. The system was mounted on a semi-trailer with missiles positioned in its middle section. It is unclear whether this specific anti-air system was operated by Russian or North Korean soldiers. Military analysts suggest the vehicle was misidentified by the drone operator who conducted the strike. OSINT analyst, OSINT Technical, also noted on X, this friendly fire incident appears to be the first appearance of the towed, Tor-like North Korean SAM system in Russian service, first seen in Pyongyang during WPK's 75th anniversary parade in 2020. The presence of North Korean military hardware adds to previously documented transfers, which include artillery ammunition, KN-23 missiles, M191 MLRS, M1989 self-propelled guns, and other military equipment. This is not the first time that the occupiers have carried out friendly strikes against their own. Until recently, the Air Force was the main target, but now the enemy has switched to ground forces as well. On the one hand, this is good, the Ukrainian Armed Forces said, but on the other hand, the fact that Putin's army has a North Korean-made air defense system indicates closer military cooperation between Moscow and Pyongyang. The KN-23 ballistic missiles, M1991 MLRS, and M1989 self-propelled guns have now been joined by air defense systems. Back in 2020, journalists from Defense Blog published an article about the new DPRK air defense system, which is completely similar to the Russian Tor. The new product was presented that same year during a military parade in Pyongyang. Military experts said the air defense system is designed to strike helicopters, aircraft, drones, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles. The system received a semi-trailer, which contains medium-range missiles. Even then, experts said that Pyongyang developed this air defense system to destroy aircraft and missiles. High-ranking Russian security officials seem to assess that Russia needs to escalate the war against Ukraine rather than seek a way out through negotiations. They are not ready to give up the war because of heavy losses. This is reported by the American Institute for the Study of War, ISW. The analysts pointed out the material of the Medusa publication before presenting their conclusion. It said that Russian security forces and the Russian military can recognize that Russian troops are not making significant territorial gains proportional to the losses in manpower and hardware they suffer during the war against Ukraine. The Russian military command has so far tolerated exorbitant personnel losses in exchange for tactical, yet not operationally significant successes. In turn, Russian dictator Vladimir Putin's theory of victory is based on accepting such losses as long as the Russians continue to advance in Ukraine. However, average daily Russian offensives slowed by about 9 kilometers square in December 2024 after 3 consecutive months of increased territorial gains and personnel losses in September, October, and November. As a result, Russian military commanders may be less prepared than Putin to sustain such high casualties if the pace of Russian troop advances continues to slow. At the same time, the Russian military, as well as the security forces, do not seem ready to give up the war because of these losses. Instead, they are allegedly in favor of Putin stepping up Russia's military efforts. In particular, he has called for an additional partial call-up of reservists and an official decision to switch to martial law, presumably in the hope of filling the battlefield with manpower and hardware. Analysts continue to believe that Putin is resisting a partial, forced conscription of reservists or further mobilization of the Russian economy, as such decisions would be highly unpopular among Russians and would further exacerbate Russia's labor shortage and economy. At the same time, it remains to be seen whether the group of Russian military and security officials calling for further mobilization of the workforce and economy will succeed in persuading Putin to take more drastic measures to satisfy Russian troops in the war against Ukraine. However, ISW suggests that rising losses of personnel, as well as problems in fulfilling the voluntary recruitment of men for the war, may force Putin to conduct an involuntary partial call-up of reservists in the near future. In the past month, 400 to 500 North Korean soldiers began storming Ukrainian positions in Kursk, outnumbering Ukrainians by at least 6 to 1, reports the Washington Post. The fighting continued for 8 hours until the Ukrainian soldiers ran out of ammunition, which forced them to retreat. The publication also writes that if the armed forces retreat from the Kursk region, 60,000 Russian military personnel will begin a large-scale offensive on Ukraine, seizing even more territory. Russia will go to Sumy if the armed forces leave Kursk. It is said that the new attack on Kushtina did not bring the desired results. There are 60,000 soldiers of the Russian Federation with whom it is difficult to fight. The North Koreans became the main pain for Ukraine. They often ignore the drones above them and continue the offensive despite the losses. And they are already followed by military Russia. Kursk Oblast will be key in the upcoming peace negotiations. The Ukrainian Armed Forces Kursk operation is a major political victory, as well as a signal to the West that it is possible to fight on Russian territory without triggering a nuclear war. This was stated by journalist Pavlo Kazarin, who joined the Ukrainian Armed Forces at the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion, in an interview for Ukrainian Witness. Our unit's crews fought there, but I wasn't there myself. Politically, it is a huge victory because it is a shift in the red lines in the eyes of the West, which now sees that it is possible to fight on the old territory of Russia without triggering a nuclear war, Kazarin said. He adds that it is still too early to assess the Kursk operation from a military strategy perspective, and from a military standpoint, what this operation will be, we will only know once it is finished, the journalist noted. Kazarin also stated that North Korean soldiers fighting on Russia's side, particularly in the Kursk region, pose a significant danger, and I am very concerned that the West did not react to the North Korean expeditionary force as it should have, Pavlo Kazarin added.